So, moving on to some of the other stuff you were talking about, I like when you were going into with business stuff and you're talking about how you have an insatiable appetite to learn. And I think that that's interesting because one of the things you did say that I think every entrepreneur struggles with is you have a lot of FOMO of like, hey, you know what, I might miss out on this, but I have to have the discipline to say no to certain things and just accept the fact that I'm going to maybe miss some opportunities, but at the end of the day, I am staying focused on what the goals are. And I think that that's a struggle for everybody at some point is, again, you listen to the podcast and you go, do I want to do NFTs? Do I want to do crypto? Do I want to do real estate? Do I want to get into jujitsu? So how do you really weigh out your decision-making for deciding this is a lane or something I'm going to give attention and focus to versus this is something I'm going to pass on? Because that could be something that's a detriment for paralysis by analysis, just for overwhelming options.
Yeah. Well, I think that, where your mind goes and drifts to when you have free time is kind of like your conscious and subconscious telling you like what to focus on. At least for me, it is. So, I've always just been involved in I love the crypto space and I love the jiu-jitsu space. And you have to be obsessed about it, I think. I think that that's like if there's a fundamental core value that I see between like the Amazon, the Jeff Bezoses, and these guys aren't working 40 hours a week, especially in the beginning. They're working 80, 90 hours a week and they're obsessed with it. And it all comes at a cost. I'm reading a book down to Atomic Habits, another great book. And it talks about there's that cost, right? Like I want to get in shape at the cost of eating that yummy donut in front of me. It's like, I want to go to the gym at cost of spending time with my family. So it's like, we have these like scales, right? On one hand, we put, this is the thing we want. On the other hand, it's like, well, this is what it costs us. And a lot of times we can pretend and we can fool ourselves so easily. Oh yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to do this. And you really like clock your hours and you're like, man, I've worked 4 hours a day on this. Not, you've been working 14 hours a day, put more effort in, double down on what's working and pivot. And I think that as we're growing in the podcast, we're figuring out, I'm a big systems nerd. Like I believe so much in like replicatable systems, make things simple. Like McDonald's is run by geriatrics and high school kids. And the reason they're so successful isn't because they have Harvard MBAs behind the counter. It's because they have the system in place that they can rinse, wash, and repeat and push somebody else into it. And if somebody else leaves. So kind of forging and pioneering what those systems are for our podcast has been a little challenging, but it's also helping just like in business, like whatever was working, double down on that, and what's not, you can pivot. So we're either doing good or we're learning. So yeah.